Excited to be here. Thanks for having me. Just going to walk you through a little bit of how we perceive to crack the code on how you drive awareness and some measurement. Great catalyst from our friends that spoke before me. Here at GroundTruth, we are a media platform. We take real business behavior, turn that into marketing that we believe drives real business results. So we've proven results with many of our friends at brand and agency. You can see a variety of those folks listed across the bottom. But more importantly, how do we do that? So we take our audience generation, which we'll talk more about here momentarily, and we really create those key audiences that you're trying to reach. And then we serve that media to those specific folks, and then we are going to measure that campaign. Sounds really easy, right? But how do we do that? So quick question for all of you. How many of you have been inside a physical store location prior to traveling to this event? Maybe you have been inside a Walmart, a Target, a Chick-fil-A, a Raising Cane's, a Starbucks, maybe a liquor store to buy your Don Julio in the last 7 to 10 days inside a physical store. Absolutely. How many of you have also been on your phone and likely purchased something? We all know that we can purchase anything from toilet paper to a pool table, have it delivered to our house in 2 to 3 days, have made a purchase online in the last 7 to 10 days. Exactly. So not only is it important to reach those consumers who are shopping online, but also to drive them in store to visit those locations to make those purchases. So what do? We look at where you go in the real world. A little bit, this looks a lot like my behavior. My 10-year-old is always plotting how he can get McDonald's for his next dinner. And so we've likely been to McDonald's in the last 30 days, or Target in the last 2 weeks. Or maybe I'm categorized as a discount shopper, and I visit some of these local dollar retailers here. Or we can see if you're in a retail block of a Walmart location. And so we take where you've been in the real world to really determine who you are. We feel that where you go in the real world depicts a much stronger image of who you are than your online buying behaviors. If you were to look at my household, based off of what my husband searches, you think that we're buying ATVs, boats, RVs, new trucks, all of the above. But that, I can promise you, that is absolutely not what we're doing. We're visiting McDonald's 7 times a week. So understanding where they go kind of helps decide what category we can really put this audience in. Forgive me, someone just said it, but an audience is people. People are buying, people are visiting, and that's who we want to reach. But we want to make sure we're reaching the right people for you. And so maybe you've visited quick serve restaurants, fine dining restaurants, been to Target, whatever that looks like, that's how we're really going to customize those audiences to serve that media. How do we do it? This is where the rubber meets the road. So you can see here we have multiple different layers of what we call our blueprints. Blueprints is kind of where we hang our hat with a team of engineers that are far smarter than I am and some polygoning technology. We go in and finite the walls of every point of interest, whether it's a retail location, a restaurant, a liquor store, whatever that is. And we can see when they've been in store, maybe they're only on the parking lot, or they're in that entire retail block. This gives us the opportunity to do a couple of different things. It helps us build those audiences that I just spoke about. It also helps us target these consumers in real time. So we can really serve that media and hopefully either encourage a purchase or promote a trip or a visit to said locations. But then it also allows us to measure the visits to these select stores. So if we're driving visits to Raising Cane's, we want to be able to tell you who we impressed upon with media, and then afterwards they went into the location. So we do this with a couple of different ways. Like anyone in location space, we have a variety of partnerships with different apps where we're given GPS signals, lat-long signals, and we have a process which we filter those through. And then we also have our first-party data. So GroundTruth owns and operates WeatherBug, second largest weather app. And If any of you have a weather app, you usually have it turned on for your said location. So that gives us a lot of first-party data to understand where people are and where they're going. And so that's how we are able to track these visits. But it's not just important to understand when they're in said locations. Yes, gives us an opportunity to reach them in real time, but it also helps us understand who they are. As I mentioned, those audiences. So it's important to make sure that we're reaching them throughout their entire shopping journey and really reaching them during their day-to-day routines and making that big impact. Not only do we have just retailers and restaurants and financial institutions and all of those types of locations blueprinted, we have so many points of interest. We have almost 5 million, so I can't even sit here and begin to tell you what all of those are, but we have, theme parks, whether it's, the Six Flags. I'm sure that we have the University of Texas football stadium blueprinted to understand who's attending those games, events, anything of that nature. And then we see almost 122 million monthly visits based off of those blueprints. And then we reach almost 460 devices monthly. How do we reach them? So we can reach them on any screen. We know that no one leaves their room, much less their house, without their phone. So that's going to be our key. Mobile targeting is going to be the key for us. But then we can also reach them in CTV and OTT. We have audio. We do digital out of home, as well as, of course, desktop and tablet. And the great thing is we know where these audiences are active, and we want to reach them when they are engaged on their phone, watching television, whatever that looks like for their lifestyle. We want to be able to reach them for you. And the best thing about that is we can then tell you what the visitation latency looked like. Okay, they saw a CTV ad, and within 2 days, they had gone into a target location. They were exposed to an ad twice on their mobile device, and then they visited X restaurant. So we're able to provide you with all of those visitation metrics back on whatever screen it was that they saw your ad. Here, I will not lie to you, I had to YouTube how to make sure I pronounce this right, but Yakek is a new brand that came to GroundTruth, and they were launching this energy tea, and we were able to help them boost visits by almost 600%. So this was a little bit of a unique ask. We wanted to drive in-store visits to brick and mortar, but they also had an Amazon storefront. So it was also imperative that we were able to drive that online conversion that we just recently spoke about. How did we do this? We took a lot of that location targeting, making sure that we were reaching customers in real time. We evaluated their location, where they had been historically, to really customize those audiences to make sure we're reaching those consumers who we feel would purchase this product, who are interested, helping drive that brand awareness. But then we were able to really hone in and get those visits. So 241,000 visits, a visitation rate lift of almost 585%. And then we were able to achieve over a 1% visitation rate based on our CTV media alone. So being able to understand who saw it on the big screen and then visited those locations, it was key. Here you can see our friends at Pepsi were just giving us a few kudos, and so just letting us know that they came to us, and based off of what their goal was for their key campaign was we were able to deliver. They, tasked us with being able to hyper-target customers using our precise location targeting, and then we were able to really build brand awareness for them while also driving store visits to their key retailers. So just to kind of put a beautiful bow and tie this all together, the way that we kind of view this is kind of going through the path to purchase is, really building that brand awareness. We want to make sure that we're reaching those key audiences that you come, or maybe there's a brief, or that we strategize together and we feel are going to be the consumers that are going to likely be visiting your locations, buying your products. And then we kind of couple that with precise targeting, making sure that we're targeting them on the screens that we feel that they're most active on. And then, using multiple screens, so doing that multi-channel approach, really driving that consideration, and then ultimately leading to conversion. We know that the funnel doesn't happen overnight, and we know that there's a lot of different goals. So you come to us, let us know where in the funnel you're wanting to play. And then that kind of helps us derive our strategy for optimizations and how we really target that media. Just some fun stats here across the bottom. Almost 50% of US shoppers said they first saw or heard of a brand in a physical store. 1 in 3 consumers who discovered new products, whether it was off of a website, social, TikTok, visited a physical store before they made the purchase of said brand. And then almost 30% of consumers who discovered a new brand or product in a physical store said they purchased the item right away, as opposed to those 18% on website or apps. So while it is super important to focus on driving awareness and having a digital presence, it's also key to make sure we're still driving consumers into the physical locations to make those purchases. So, would love to connect with all of you. We will be here. I say we. Jay Snyder is a part of my team. He's here, corner him and ask him all of the hard questions. Just come to me with all of the easy ones. But we would love to connect with you if you're a partner of GroundTruth, or maybe you're considering it. If you scan the QR code, all I want is like an email. I think we won't spam you. We won't constantly outreach. We're going to put you on a list, so in the future, if you come work with us, we're able to give you some special offers. I think right now they've got, I was approved for 15% added value bonus impressions on your next campaign with GroundTruth at no minimum fee or investment. So we'd love to hear from you. Please scan this, engage with us, corner us, ask us all the questions, and we're excited to get to know more of you.
All right.